Thank you so much for being patient as we but we transition from Zoom to Facebook. And so we are now streaming on Facebook. So for persons who don't have Zoom and you know friends that have Facebook, they can go to the Let's Talk Kingdom page on Facebook and you will find me there. Let's Talk has no, and that's Let's Talk Kingdom. And we have started. Hi, Facebook family. I see you. I see you. Welcome, welcome, one and all. You know how we start. We start every week. Yep. I was saying to myself, Chris, when we get bigger, we're going to have to go either call, I think it's Warner Brothers or Disney.
Well, let's see about that. For a live intro, who knows?
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain.
It's what we do every Sunday night, and we soon try to take over to the world, so we have taken over the world. Thank you so much, everyone. I know I saw my presenter on. I know she's here. Yes, hi, beautiful. She is here and ready to go. And so I just want to recap a little bit from last week, and we can have any little discussion around it, because I know for some persons, when you spoke about vision versus ambition, Enough people never know say they the same thing. And no, them they go on like them did know, you know.
Never
And them they
know.
go on like them did bright. And them never know. Them just never want to, never want to load it up for say, what you just said a while ago? What you mean? Like you touched a corn right there when you stated that a vision serves others, but an ambition serves yourself. So if you have a goal and that goal is just, and that goal or that vision or that thing serves you, that's an ambition. But a vision serves others. And once it's serving others, God will give you the provision for the vision. And it's not that the ambition, it's not that God won't provide, it's just that the greater vision takes more priority or precedence over the ambition.
I think
That's one of them.
that's
No, the next one.
we
I'm
said
not
some,
hearing you, sweetheart. Your sound, you're breaking.
we said something some time ago. Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, hearing you now.
I'm hearing you now.
That when you take care of God's business, He will take care of yours. Remember that? Man?
Yes.
Yeah. So while you take care of God's vision, then He will take care of your ambition. So,
Yes. Nas, you spoke also about, I think this is something that a lot of people won't say, but I had to bring it across, is about having fear. You're fearful about your dream because sometimes your dream is bigger than you, or the vision that God has given you is huge, and you become so afraid, whether it be insecurities, whatever it may be. And you said something so simple, but so profound. It's two things you said that kind of, interlap. So you said, one, it costs you nothing to write it down. And as simple as that sounds, it is so profound because persons won't even whisper it. They won't even share it because just in case you want a Joseph brother, them we are gonna kill you. Because I don't know if you did hear the message there when you did a grow up, say you mustn't talk the things them because one showing at the pit. So just in case, you don't even whisper it to yourself again. It's like you shelf it and you move on because it is bigger than you, as you said. It causes fear, but it says it costs you nothing to write it down. But then you went further and said writing it down is taking it from out of the spiritual realm into the natural realm so that God can work. Girl, I was writing. Girl, me did a write. We did a write. Yeah, car. It's one thing to hear things and another thing not to put it into action. I know you shared your story with your husband. I mean, no, so that touch people can't too because them want the husband way fix up, and package up nice. But Jamar came to you with a life plan, a torn up life plan. Listen, I can preach a message. I can do one seminar just on that alone. But he came to you with a life plan and you said something about what was attached to the life plan, dates. And you said to us that if we're going to do this thing, put dates to it. Now that one, I think is easier said than done because you choke up in your throat by the time you say, all right, I'm gonna get in a 2 years time, six months. What am I put right here so? But you broke it down further when you told us about long-term goals, medium-term goals, and how to have sub-goals out of it. So guys, I broke down last week. Last week was Holy. Someone called me, she's online now. She called me, I'm Nas, and she's like, Natalie boy, she's a talker. But she said she couldn't talk. She just have to take notes. She said, I couldn't talk. It's like this was for me. I had to immerse myself in all that was being said. And I just want to say thank you for making yourself available again another week. Come and no say 1 week never did I go all you. 1 week never did I go all you. So that's why I'm gonna beg you for 2, and I'm very grateful. And I'm grateful for everyone who's on the platform. There's some persons that I'm seeing for the first time. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining Let's Talk Family. It's a platform where you are free to talk, no bars hold. Anything will come at your head, make it come at your mouth is fine. Don't worry around here. We're okay. We will answer the questions. Yes, even the controversial ones. Yes, even the uncomfortable one. That's what this platform is about. But before I hand over to Nas, I have to introduce her properly for those who may never, you weren't on the platform last week and this is your first time joining. And I just want to let you know she's a very humble soul, but I'm going to use her correct title, even though she's a very humble soul and doesn't mind being called Natassia, right? But Natassia, I call you Her Excellency, Natassia Wright. She's a co-founder of Mind Food International, and this entity is an international entity. I call it that because herself and her husband, they are both ministering, doing conferences, both on a local level, Caribbean level, and an international level. Natassia is an international known author, leadership practitioner, HR consultant, youth advocate, and an inspirational leader. Her company, Mind Food, is known for providing the ultimate conference and training experience, whether corporate or otherwise, both locally and on the international scene. So if there anybody in HR who does training, yep, if you need her number, just give me a call and I'll hand it over. Mind Food's latest expansion has resulted in conferences that has been held internationally, as I said before, in the Caribbean, and a summit in South Florida. No, Natassia doesn't like to hear this word, but she is an influencer. Anybody follows her on Instagram? I do. Anybody follows her on LinkedIn? I do. She doesn't like the word, but she is an influencer and she's influencing for the kingdom of God. Anybody happy about that? Me, because some of these influencers don't know them head from them foot bottom. But this girl is bringing truth. Even if she does not mention the word God, it is the principle that Natassia is bringing across, and I'm truly, truly blessed to know her. Natassia and her husband, through their national involvement of influencing change in various communities, recently received the Governor General's Award for Excellence in Leadership. Natassia was appointed as an United Nations Ambassador NGO diplomat in October 2020. She specializes in teaching about purpose and destiny, as well as how to evolve in the leader one ought to be. She's the mother of one daughter, Amina. Am I pronouncing your daughter's name correctly?
It's Amaya, or we call her Ami.
Amaya Wright, and has been married for 7 years to Jamar Wright. Big up, Obi, anywhere you're there. Big up yourself. Her favorite quote is, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," by Mahatma Gandhi. And so everyone, both on Zoom and on Facebook, let's welcome our presenter for tonight, Natassia Wright. I hand over to you to do your wonderful thing, as you always do.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. So excited to share with you tonight part 2 of what we started last week. Actually, this week is going to be fully loaded because I had to make sure my little podium is in front of me because there's so much notes that I hope you guys are ready, because we definitely have to learn how to pull our vision out of the spiritual and get it into this realm that we are living in I must give honor to the visionaries here, Natalie and Christopher Brown. You guys are amazing. I hope you know that. Just for even attempting to do what God has placed on your heart to do, as fearful as it may be, because people will think that you are fearless, because it's hard. It's hard to put money into something and you don't know when it's going to come back. You don't know if people are going to show up, but you do it anyway. And God always, when I say always, 100% repays us in numbers that we cannot ever trace for what we do here for the kingdom of God. And I give honor also to His Excellency Mr. Wright, who is sitting down here, so without no shirt on, so I can't say hi.
Jamar.
And to yes, to the hand there, and to Amy, who's running about the place with her hair not combed because her mother is too busy to comb her hair. So guys, I have to tell you these things because a lot of times people out there, they look at the pictures and they're like, wow, this is so nice and whatever. Listen, I'm tired. Like it takes a lot out of you. And so I've been going all week. So many different events, all on different themes, different topics, different groups of people. I got up this morning and I said, God, I'm so thankful that it's the start of the week for a lot of people, but it's the end of my week. So after this, I get to relax, but it doesn't mean that my work ends. And so it takes a lot of passion, discipline. It takes knowing that you have to go through a process. It takes a lot of things to see people like myself and Natalie and Chris and Jamar and so many other persons on here for us to keep going. It takes a lot out of us. And so while many of us may think that it is solely the anointing alone that keeps us going, you have another thing coming. And we're going to talk a lot about this today. So I'm so excited. I want to big up my peeps who have joined in today. I see Miss Aldit on, I see Chantal Scully on. You know, I really need to give a special big up to this young lady. She is actually from Connecticut. We connected via Instagram. I mentored her for a period of time and she still follows me everywhere I go. Chantal, I appreciate you. Same with Diana, who is on here as well. She's like my sister friend. She's my encourager and my prayer warrior and everything. You guys are amazing. When you find people who actually love you and not just love you for everything they see around you, it's a blessing. All right. So I'm ready now. I'm ready to start. We're going to do a quick recap, just like Natalie did for me, but I coined it in different ways. I hope you have your pen ready, your paper ready. The faintest of ink is greater than the best of memory. The faintest of ink is greater than the best of memory. Y'all go forget. By the time you have your second dinner tonight, you're going to forget what I said. And then tomorrow morning, you're going to go right back to your wayward ways. So write it down, okay? Because we are creatures of forgetting things. So we spoke about vision boarding. We spoke about so many different things last week. But these are the points that I want to drive home. Now, what is vision? Vision is a mental picture of a noble future that moves humanity forward. As Natalie says, is buying a car a vision? Not quite. It's a personal ambition because you want the car for go show off and for broth. Or you want the car so your family can ride around safely. It is a personal ambition. Does that mean that you're not supposed to have personal ambition? Absolutely not. You should have some of those, plenty of those. As a matter of fact, people won't follow your God until they see that you are doing well. So nothing is wrong with that. However, it is the vision that moves humanity forward that will more than likely be the means that you will be able to attain all these other things anyway. So as the Bible says, Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else is added unto you. And you know, even Jesus, he spoke about he told the disciples, he said that you will not only be repaid in the next lifetime, he said you will be repaid in this one as well. So yes, look forward to pursuing those personal ambitions, but the vision is what moves humanity forward. Now, planning is the act of capturing God's will for your life. So God has already willed it. But if you don't plan it and act on it, exactly how is it going to happen? Right? Now, the second thing is planning pulls God's promise out of eternity into time. So God, it is a promise that has been made to you that, you know, he will provide you a house. Yes, sure. But if you don't get up and go find a house, if you don't go looking for a house, if you don't go pay the deposit, if you don't go get the attorney, if you don't do any of these things, if you don't plan to do them, how exactly will they happen? They're not just going to appear just like that. And so planning is so important because it is also showing God that you are serious and you are making your own steps towards what he has already promised you. That's faith in my eyes. In my eyes, that's the ultimate. That's faith. You planning for something that is not seen, something that is not already in reality, but you are showing him that, listen, ready, you know? So you need to make sure this happens for me. Now, the third point regarding planning, God has a plan for you, but he will not plan for you. So God has a plan for you, but he will not plan for you. Okay, Michelle and Shelly-Ann, Shara, Kadia, Orif. So he has a plan for you, but he cannot do the planning for, he will not, certainly not. It is in your best interest, and you are in the right realm to do the planning for yourself. God doesn't have to do that for you. And so he plans for you. He has a plan for you, but he cannot plan for you. I hope you understand. I hope you guys got those points, because it's so important for us to understand. I'm going to give you an example. Yes, sir, bro.
You know, I think that one of the jargons that we use in church, that we always waiting on God.
They say, and God, I wait for we.
Yeah.
And that's why nothing gets done, Chris, because we're sitting there and we're praying. I said, God, if only you would have sent me the man. Just send me the man, because I'm so lonely and I want a family and I want to get married. And she sit down and she pray every day. I said, God, just send me the godly man, the man. And God is sitting up there in heaven saying, then little girl, put on some clothes, look good, dress
okay.
up,
You chip out a while ago.
Sorry?
That's not hearing you. Go again.
Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, I wasn't hearing you, so but maybe it's my system. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So I'm saying that you have a particular lady praying and say, God, send me a godly husband. I need a husband. I'm lonely. I need children. I want a family, all these different things. And God is sitting up there in heaven and saying, then little girl, put on some clothes, dress up nice, go out somewhere. I mean, the man is not just going to show up and fall through the ceiling and drop in your lap. Like, you have to go somewhere, don't? You have to be somewhere. You have to be conversing with people. How are you going to meet this individual? And sometimes we do it like, it's like we're one track minded. God is going to do it. I don't have to do it enough. I don't have to do it. God is going to do it. Let me tell you something. God speaks to us in forms of ideas, thoughts. So you're sitting down there and you just suddenly get a thought and say, you know that these puddings that I'm baking all the time and giving away, I could actually bake them and sell them. Thought. So you actually prayed for your rent money, you know, but a thought came that you should bake some puddings and sell them. And that is how your rent money going to come. It may not show up in the form that you are expecting. Yes, Chris, go ahead.
No, no.
So it's sad to know that we are always tarrying. You know, they say I must tarry for the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is sitting down there looking at you like, I've done my part. What are you doing? What are you doing? And the funny thing is, if a lot of us had even done something, make an attempt, move your hand, try something, God would have allowed everything to come to fruition a long time, but we have not moved. We have not. And so planning is so important because it is literally initiating the process of pulling those things that are in your mind and in God's heart for you into reality. Now, let me backtrack. I never said when you go out there and start something, you know, the process is initiated. I said when you plan, when you take up a paper and a pen, see there, that's all. I never said you had to go out there and start something. When you plan, how many times have we had have we sat down and said, all right, let's write down this goal. And soon after you write down the goal, somebody call you and say, Natassia, you know, I heard about a car that's being sold, so and so and so and so. Would you be interested in it? And when you look down, you're saying, but I just wrote buying a car as a goal. It's no joke. But if you don't take intentional steps to show, you know, those very enlightened people, they say, to show the universe that you're serious, you know, to show the universe that you're, you have to put it out there in the universe.
Yes, let's put it out there.
Universe. Right? That's what they say, but I'm just saying, like, God is waiting on us. God is waiting on us to move. You know how I know that God literally waits on us to move? Let's go to the story of Abraham. Look at when God said to Abraham, Abraham, you're going to get Isaac ready and you're going to sacrifice him to me on such and such a mount. And Abraham neatly packed up the little boy, brought him to a particular place. Even the little boy was saying to him, then Daddy, where is the thing that we're going to sacrifice? Poor thing don't even understand, you know, him have the wood on him back, walking with, right? Walking to the altar, not even knowing that God had told his father to sacrifice him. You know what Abraham said to his son? He said, the Lord will provide. My God, what a man of faith. So he said, he knew, because he even told his son, you know, get yourself ready. We're going to go and make sacrifice unto God and we will come back. He had faith that God wasn't going to be taking away the one thing he gave him or promised him for so long. So it shows, and we all know the story. By the time they got there, he was about to sacrifice the boy. Then the lamb just appeared out of nowhere and he sacrificed that instead because God told him not to. But it was a test for him to move. So planning is just that. For you to move, start something. It's not going to cost you anything to write it down. As crazy as it sounds, it will cost you nothing to write it down. You know, I love to see when the old high school yearbooks come out of these very influential people. When you see people like Asafa Powell say one day he's going to be a world record holder. How much time he brought that the world record there? Or you see our current prime minister, he had something out that he was going to be a great politician. Guys, we don't take these things serious enough, but you better get to writing. You better get to planning, because we cannot sit and wait for God to do everything for us. Jamar always says, God is not going to come and brush your teeth for you. You don't have no time for that. He has no time for that. He's not going to come and brush your teeth. Come on. You have to do it yourself. So guys, now that I have laid that foundation, I know I even gave you guys assignments. You are supposed to start putting your plans down. Make it, do your life plan, put the dates. I don't care how afraid you are, put some, all if you're uncertain, do it while your hand's shaking. Write some dates, and you will be surprised that some of them even manifest before those dates come. Right, so I'm just bringing the charge to you to start. All right, so we're ready now. We're going back into vision. Did somebody say something?
Yes, good evening. I'm Cassandra Hemmings. I'm just saying, based on the scenario that you gave, I was about to say it, to mention without faith. So as people, not only writing it down, but step out in faith.
Exactly.
And remember what Hebrews 11 verse 1 says. Because if you don't have any faith, you already lost the battle.
Of course, of course, Mrs. Emmett. Thank you so much for joining. And while we're at it, because faith is actually a subheading under the teaching for tonight, so we're going to get there eventually, right?
Amen.
Now, vision. So you have to write. Now, this is the first one under today's heading, which is the heading is fulfilling the vision. So last week we talked about goals, we talked about vision, we talked about personal ambition, we talked about vision boarding, life plan. I laid it all out. Now we're going to be talking about pulling that vision out of the supernatural, out of the spiritual, and bringing it here on earth. Fulfilling the vision. Now, we already spoke about what the vision is. I'm going to tell you what is required for us to get things done. The first thing is that vision needs passion. Vision requires passion. What is passion? Right? We hear it a lot. People interchange passion and purpose, but they're not the same things, you know. You know what passion is? Passion is a strong, intense feeling or emotion that will push you to go after the most intimate desires. So passion is a strong, intense feeling that will push you, it will motivate you, it will keep you going, it will get you excited. You wake up in the morning, even when the world crashing down, you are still excited because you have this one thing on your mind and you know that you're going to get to it. Now, passion is usually in tune with the vision that God has placed on your heart, and it will equip you with stamina to pursue it at all costs. Let me tell you something. I hate to see people, and I don't like to use the word hate, but that's true. I don't like to see people who are doing anything that they're not excited about. I tell people all the time, yes, I am walking in my purpose, and I am giving God the glory, and I am serving humanity. But you know what makes me get up every single day and put on clothes and put on makeup and have Amy screaming in my ear and Jamar telling me to go do this and that and all kind of stuff. You know what keeps me going to have me at the end of the day sit down and still pour into people? It's a passion. I cannot live with the fact that people are out there that needs encouragement. They need to hear a word from God. They need something to help them to go into tomorrow, Monday, because the thought of tomorrow being Monday alone is stressing out so many persons on here, right? So that keeps me going. Passion. It makes me excited. When we face obstacles, I don't feel that daunted. I don't feel like, I need to quit because I have passion for it. Without passion, you will give up quick. No amount of money, no amount of influence, no amount of nothing will get you going like passion. What do you think is the difference between a man who is in a job, he's not being paid well? As a matter of fact, he's underpaid, and the other counterpart who is getting paid well, who does not show up to work, but yet still the underpaid one still come to work. He does his very best possible. What's the difference? The man who underpaid probably has passion for it. So he doesn't feel like it is work. It's not work to him. That's his life. He feels as though he needs to go regardless. Passion is so important. When you say you have a vision to write a book, Melissa, I see you on, big up yourself. When you say you have a passion to write a book, to be a speaker, to be a business person, let me tell you something, entrepreneurship hard. I just wanted to throw that in there. Just make sure you have a passion for what you're doing, because by the time you enter the field, the industry, you're gonna get some hard blows. I'm not speaking negative, I'm telling you about what is to come. You're gonna get some really serious blows. And the more you grow, the worse it gets. Then you know what I say? The higher the level, the greater the devil, something like that. Yeah. 1 second, guys. Okay, right. So it is inevitable. Obstacles are going to come. If you don't have passion, how are you going to persevere? And so it's so important that you're not just running with a vision that you don't want. You have no passion for it. You have no drive for it. I see people doing it all the time. People in music, people in dancing, people in film, they hate it. They don't want to do it, but they're in it because they say, oh, you know, that's what's making the money. Oh, that's what's going to make me popular. They don't last. They're not going to last any time at all. Because after a while, when they start to face the different things coming at them, they just give up. They don't have a passion for it.
With you saying that, Nas, maybe it's in your notes down the road, but say for instance, as we're talking, you're in a job and you're not passionate about the job. That's not the field that you want to be in. But right now, it's a means to an end. Right now, that's what it is, because you have your bills to pay. How do you transition out of that to doing something else when you truly don't know what you're passionate about?
Okay, sure. I'd love to take that. Do not leave your job. First of all, do not get up and leave your work and say, oh, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do what I love. Because I said it earlier, entrepreneurship is not as simple as you see it. And it's a tough road, but there is a way to actually combine both. Last week, I stressed it. I said to you guys, you have your 9 to 5, you have to work because you have to feed the kids, you have to pay the bills, and the bills come non-stop. You cannot outlive the bills. The bills going to live longer than you. So you have to pay them, right? So you go to work at the required time. When you get home, that is when you focus your attention on that other thing. For me, guys, I'm going to be very straight up. A lot of persons did not know that I was working a 9 to 5, a full-time job, traveling, speaking, mindful, army, husband, all these different things. I was working a full-time job. I never left it. You know how me end up come out of work? They made me redundant. And I find that people are not being transparent. I'm not going to tell anybody to get up and leave them work and then tomorrow they're hungry, right? You have to have wisdom, because at the end of the day, when things start to tumble down, you're going to be in a serious bind, and having financial pressure makes it so much harder for you to focus, right? So I'm
Nice.
seeing some questions.
Yes, Nasi, Melissa said, some persons would say to you, step out in faith. Dan would like to respond and also share.
Okay, sure. Let me just respond to Melissa. Melissa, I cannot play, I don't want to say hypocrite because that's going to be too sharp of a word. But because I understand that we are human beings and we have needs, and again, I don't speak on anything that I have not done. I stuck it out in a job that was very, we can't talk. And I think one of my past co-workers is on here with me, and she shared the same sentiment because we were itching to leave the job. But I got no release from God. He said, do not move. One quick thing before Diana share, a lot of us who are looking to run out of the job, you're going to buck it up somewhere else because there are lessons on the job that you need to learn and you have not learned them. You have not treated your co-workers well. You do not represent God. And so you're not living the way that you say that you really should be. So when you get out of that space and you move on to somewhere else, it's the same problem. You're going around the mountain. Learn your job. Do what you're supposed to do, what God sent you to do on the job before you even think of transitioning to anything. Diana, go ahead, my dear.
Natassia, I think you have said everything I was thinking.
Oh, no,
Beautifully
take
said.
again.
Oh my God. Good evening, everyone. And I
Good
just
evening.
think such an awesome platform and an awesome evening. Like many of you, and then like Melissa said, I have been there. So I've been working for a long time. I think I've been working professionally close to 20 years. And I've had that itch to just jump. But God is a responsible God. He never gives you a plan without making the provisions, right? So that's what my coach will tell me. God is not a careless God. And there's so many things that Natassia has said that we can build on and we can unpack. So when you're working, if it's McDonald's, take the cleanliness from that place that you learned. If it's Walmart, take the efficiency. Wherever you are, take the nuggets and the skills that you can use in your own business. Take the leadership skills, the communication skills, the customer service skills. I worked at Walmart here in Canada after being like a manager for 15 years in Jamaica. And when I tell people it was my pride and joy, people could not understand. Minimum wage, $11.20. It was my pride and joy. It built my network. It built my appreciation for Canadian culture. I know how people are. So when Natassia says it prepares you and you want to go out and do business, but you don't even know how to negotiate. You don't even know how to approach somebody who's from a different culture or a different context. So now when I'm ready, honestly, there's such a big language barrier. There are things we say in Jamaica that are deeply offensive to Canadian people. Somebody could be crying and you're like, hush. Hush over here means shut up. And no matter how many times I break it down and I explain to them and I say, but no, man, I just mean, I understand how you feel and I'm sorry. The word has no context for them. So sometimes we discount, we disparage and we despise where we are. And we don't truly, truly appreciate the fact that it's for a refinement of our passion and our purpose and God's plan. But those are my thoughts. And as Natassia continued to speak, she was saying every single thing that was in my mind. And so you may wonder, so when do you really go? And that's a whole nother conversation. And I'm not going to preempt it because Natassia is going to get there. I know she's going to get there. So she will tell you, when do you go in faith? So those are just my words.
Beautifully said, Diana. That's why you're my sister friend.
I was going to say that. That's why we're sisters.
Jamar,
yes, Mr. Wright, hand is up.
Okay, relieving your job and going into entrepreneur. There's always an analogy that I like to use. They use this analogy. It's an analogy. It's a true story, but true analogy for those like in zoo. If they want to release a lion back into the wild, for example, say in Kenya, and they want to release a lion that was at a zoo. The lion was caged, and you want to release him back into the wild. Now, what they would do is that they would take the lion and the cage to the wilderness, and they would leave the cage open and put food in there for the lion and send the lion out for the lion to hunt. Now, that lion that has been at zoo, he does not know anything about hunting because for his life he's being fed by the zookeeper. And so if that lion does not kill anything during the day, he would come back into the cage and eat. Now, once those person realize that the lion but day by day does not come back to the cage, little by little they close the cage and leave the lion alone. Now it's the same thing for your job. Now, because you are in a system for so long and you are dependent on a paycheck, what I would encourage you to do is hunt in the day or in the night, start your business after work and build your business little by little, little by little. Now, whenever that business can take care of most of your expense, then you can leave that job. No, if you are convinced that God said you must leave your job and you're 100% sure that is God, then we cannot go against the will of God. But wisdom would say that leave your job increment by increment. In other words, have a strategy before you leave, because we don't want you to leave. And then when you leave, you cannot meet your payments. And then we hear the bill collector calling us. So take that analogy from the wild and leave the cage little by little. So build your business while you are working, and eventually the business can take care of you and then you leave.
Thank you so much, Jamar. Thank you so much. I see here Melissa said that she prayed for a new job every day for over 5 years. And I'm still there 60 years until I got a revelation. That place is my training ground, and I have to stay until God's purpose is completed. All who for told us step on, told us step on your own toe. And that's about it. And that's it. It is done.
All right.
Nas, one more question before you go on. So that takes care of that. What about those who in the job don't like the job because that's what they know they're not passionate about that. They're just in it because maybe that's the first person that took up your resume and said, yo, we want you, right? So you're in your job. You want to leave. You want another job. You want to discover your passion. You're clueless.
Okay.
You would love to create a vision and do all of these stuff, but you are at that place where you're not sure, where do I fit in? What is it that I want to do? Do you have any advice for such a one?
Sure. Again, I'm going to be repeating the very same things I said earlier, as Jamar mentioned. Listen, do not leave your job because you are not passionate about that thing or what you're doing. However, it is paying the bills. You do not work for 24 hours. You have agreed to give your time 8 hours per day, 40 hours per week. Some of us is more than that, for some money. So the time that you have left, go and register for classes, go be a part of different associations, go and be a part of different groups until you find that thing that is really yours. And then you can start working on it. As Diana said, yes, you go gain some knowledge, you need it, right? It's not just to get up out there and just jump off the deep end without a plan. Remember, I said planning is the act of pulling what is out of the spiritual into the physical. But if you act without planning, then something is seriously wrong, because how will you know what is next? God gives vision in phases. He doesn't give you everything one time. You can't manage everything one time. For example, when we just started out, and my friend Diana here, who is a career coach, she's giving some outline there. You guys can look at it, but I want to wrap up on this specific question. What was I saying? I don't remember.
You're saying that we should go and gain knowledge. We are supposed to go out there, find the passion, figure it out.
Right. So it's not until you have done that that you can truly think about, or the next step is revealed. The reason you don't get your whole vision one time is because you're not mentally able to take it in. For example, when Mindful just started, we were doing morning inspirations. If God had told us at that time you're going to be going into corporate and training people, we'd be like, train them on what? We wouldn't understand. You get what I'm saying? If he said, oh, you guys are going to write books, we'd be like, write books on what? We don't, so it takes time. But the idea is in a very real world, and a world that has no compassion on people, guys, you have to wise up. This world has no compassion. And so what you have to do is to ensure that you secure yourself and your family, because when you are under stress, you have no time, no energy to think about anything else. Your basic needs always has to be met. Yes, you can switch jobs, but as an HR professional, I will tell you, do not switch until, well, you can't switch until you find something. So you better find something before you decide that you're going to leave, unless you have a certain amount of savings saved up. And even so, anything can happen at any time. So you need to be clear about what it is that you need to do before you even leave. Because you can work on your job in the day and work on your passion in your night. One last thing I'm going to share before I move on. And I'm going to be very transparent. I don't think I've ever shared this in any group at all. Where I was working, I had so many negative experiences. Like, my husband was so tired of me coming home and telling him about the job. He got frustrated because he was like giving me a whole heap of tips on what I should do and all kind of something. And I'm like, listen, I don't need your advice. I just need you to listen, because these people are out to drive me crazy.
Know that feeling.
Yeah, they're out to drive me crazy. And mind you, while I was working on Mindful. Guys, you know what happened to me over time? Over time, Mindful take up the whole of my time. So everybody was seeing me traveling. Everybody was seeing me doing a lot of speeches and doing training and everything. And even that was a problem. I could not breathe in the place. People came in after me. They got promoted over me. No qualms about that, because my purpose is solid. I know where God is taking me. Them sabotage me. Them tell lie. They do every single thing. But I would not leave the job because I realized that my assignment was not complete. I remember traveling one summer, and I came back. And the whole time I had traveled, it was like the Lord was speaking to me. When I got back on the job, I started preparing all my documents, because I was saying to myself, my assignment is coming to an end. Guys, that very week, we got word that the corporation was closing down. If you wait, if you act with information, if you don't act prematurely, and if you act with advice from wise counsel, you will make the right decisions. A job is a job. A job is not your purpose. So you need to separate the two. There were many times I had to go do like sessions with young people, and that built me up to even come back at work, because I was so unhappy there. But when I went and speak to the girls at Woolmarts, I was so happy. The feeling lasted me for about a week, and then me have to go say, all right, me have to go give some more time to something else, because I need another kick. I can't deal with it, right? And that was what fueled me, guys. That was what fueled me to go back at work. And guys, I didn't just go back to work and waste time. No. If you ask any of my coworkers about me, they have good things to say, because I worked. You're not going to be perfect, but just ensure that who you say you are matches up with what you do, especially on the job, because people are watching you, right? All right, guys, we have to move on. Jesus, look on the street. Oh my gosh.
You need to take your time here. This is trying to take over the world, so we have to spend some time here. So just thinking though, as you mentioned, find your passion. And I'm not sure people may think that it's an external an ingredient that you find, but shouldn't it be more intrinsic when you find what you're good at and what you love? Because sometimes people are really doing something that they're really not passionate about, really because they don't love it. But as soon as they see something that they love, and like just for instance, every time they hear baking, something stirs inside of them and the passion develops. So just explain finding passion. Is it external? Is it intrinsic? How do we generate?
That's very simple because it's innate. For example, I don't have to, you don't have to look far. If you even stop right now for like 10 seconds and say, what do I love to do? What nobody would have to pay me to do, and I will do it and I will enjoy it. I will take up myself and go cook in 10 different people's kitchen, and I don't think, I'm just saying, and the person won't think anything of it. They just whip up a nice meal and make you smile and you enjoy it, and that gives them joy. It is there. You just have to really think hard enough, but you can find it. A lot of people are passionate about different things. But what happens is, because we're living in an age that is so focused on fanfare, they're more focused on excitement. And they're more focused on the attention. Yes, Natalie. They're more focused on the hype that they would prefer.
You're muted. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're back now. You're back.
Yes, thank you. That they would prefer to do something that they don't like just to get some attention, for a good feeling, a little bit of dopamine. That's a chemical reaction in your brain that's going to last only a few minutes. It don't last no longer than that. And so what you find is you have people today, they post half-naked pictures just for that chemical reaction, to get some likes, to get some comments, and then they go back to their very sad lives. But when it comes to passion, you don't have to look far. Me, I'm energized from these sessions. Yes, it takes something from me, but if I were to stop doing this completely, that would be the end of me.
Natassia, I know you're not seeing Facebook, but there's a question on Facebook.
Sure.
So hi, Marjorie. She's asking, question for you. Truly think that one's job can't be their purpose? All jobs to date, I believe, have been a reflection of my passion and purpose. If you can respond, please.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Because you may find that you have individuals who are blessed enough to be working in fields that they are passionate about or is their purpose. And that's what jobs really are about, but in today's age, I think the lines have been blurred. For example, when I was growing up, I never thought that a teacher who didn't want to teach would be teaching. Because when I was growing up, my teacher loved teach. We have in a class how long, and even if you never understood class, wasn't going to finish because she was going to make sure you leave understanding. There was this level of care, right? And comfort. Parents could leave you knowing that you're in great hands because they're just passionate about what they do. It's the same thing for nurses, right? They want to ensure that their patients are doing okay and everything, until I had baby and I was like, listen, me not come back at the hospital. Yeah. Because it's just a job. But Marjorie is right. Your job can be a reflection of your purpose because it would have been what attracted you in the first place. However, it is not so for a lot of people.
True.
Right? And we have to be real with ourselves. It's not so for a lot of people.
That's
not
true.
Everybody goes out intentionally and say, you know what? And let me tell you why. Because when I was in university, I did not know what I wanted to do. But just pick something. But pick something and I ended up
a lot of people.
Yes, pick something. And I remember Jamar had a colleague who she was in business too. And every day she would see the nurses pass and say, boy, that's really what I wanted to do, you know, but my mommy said, I must be a business person. I must do marketing because it make more money. She always wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes when we are doing our field of studies in school, we don't know what we want to do yet. But not everybody has the luxury to find a job that is aligned to their purpose and passion. So if that is you, Marjorie, big up to you, you are blessed. But it's not so for everybody.
Natassia, I see Galaxy Tab A, your hand is up.
Yes, go ahead and ask the question. Tell me your name, because you don't name Galaxy.
It's Cassandra again. Based on
Oh,
what Christopher said, you know, influence first will influence you and deter you from your passion. Because I have a colleague, I mean, this gentleman is so good with his hands. He can decorate place. If you're having any functions, just get the material and he will do all of this. But he's in teaching. And he would say, when I like this, you know, I prefer to do this. That's when he talked to me and I said, all you have to do is go to Edna Manley. And he was like, oh, you know, my friend said, I must go down to Joseph. And he's at Joseph and him stop and him go. Him stop and him go. And I said, what is that mean? Can't bother y'all. Me I take off sometime. I'm gonna say, but if you continue this way, remember I told you, go to Edna Manley. Go to Edna Manley. You still can teach this course afterwards. But you know, persons because your friend is doing this and your friend said, go and do this.
yes.
But your
Oh, yeah.
not there. So as you said, you really have to know. And some persons, it's not like they don't know their passion, but because of this great influence that this individual or individuals have on you as a person, it just kind of have you like a tug and war. And if you don't have the inner drive now to say, you know, I am going towards this. Because he might not see me in the light, say, oh, tell me this, you know, but am I a closer friend this? You understand what I'm saying? So as
Yes.
an individual, you really have to know and tell yourself that this is what I am about. Go, put your foot out there. And as the somebody said earlier, if you don't have the faith, it is going to be hard. As at
Yes.
the same time, you can't leave and then you don't have any bread, but you will not become as good, efficient in your job if you don't have the zeal for it. Yes, so that's what I really want to share.
Powerful point. Powerful point.
Go ahead, Natassia, over to you.
Yes. So guys, that I'm gonna just share one more thing on the passion and we're gonna move on. Now, with great passion, you are unstoppable. A lot of us know people in our lives who no care how hard they fall, they keep moving. They keep going at their goals. They lost money, they lost loved ones, they lost the business, they lost this, they lost that, and they're constantly moving. At some point or time, they're going to be successful because that's just how it works. If you don't quit, you will eventually get to your target. But your vision requires passion. My God, without passion, you won't even be able to attract the right people to you. As an HR professional, I tell you, when I'm doing interviews, I always watch the body language and if the person even thinks that they should be in the room with you. Sometimes you do the interviews and people come and you can see that they're not interested. They're just there because, boy, they're just trying a thing, as opposed to that person who is truly there because they believe that they're a good fit for the role. They love to work with the organization. The passion is exuded and you can feel it in a room. When you're talking about your business, are you expressing passion? When you're talking about your job, when you're talking about your purpose, those things will indicate if you are in the right field. And so we're going to move on now to point 2. Remember the first point, which was very spicy. I love the interaction. It says vision needs Passion. That was the first thing we talk about, passion. I don't like to converse with dead and dry and boring people. I don't like it. You must be passionate about something, guys. All right, number 2. Vision needs faith. I think Cassandra, who I know dearly as Sandy, said it. She said it. She preempted the conversation earlier. Vision needs faith. For you to pull that vision out of eternity into time. You see why you need a date? For you to pull it out of eternity into time, you need that date, but you need faith. My God, what is faith? They taught me this Bible verse so young, I'll never forget it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. If you don't know that Bible passage, go and learn it. Faith is the
Hebrews
substance.
11, man. Sorry. Hebrews 11, verse 1.
Write it in the chat. For those who don't know it, go and memorize it. So the next time somebody tries to have some kind of debate with you and say, oh, show me the evidence, you don't have to do that. Faith is enough. It's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. There's nothing in the physical that you can look at and say, oh yeah, that's faith. No, it's not. You can't point to anything, but you know that you know that you know that you know. Say, I saw it go and I saw it go, right? So it's belief in that thing that is going to happen regardless of what may be in front of you. Now, faith sees opportunity instead of problems. Faith sees opportunities instead of problems. There's this very popular story of 2 salesmen who went to India to just scope out possible opportunities for shoes. And the 2 salesmen, who were pretty much very the same in background, very similar, they came back with 2 different reports. Can you believe that? Same company, same everything. They went to the same place in India. They went to Calcutta, which is like a very poor place. And this is what one salesman said. He said, listen, guys, it makes no sense we even think of doing business in India. The people are dirt poor. They don't have no money to invest. They can't buy shoes. So it don't make any sense we go expand business in India. How are they gonna even afford it? Let's go find prospects elsewhere. And the very wise salesman came back and said, listen, the people them poor, yes, but they don't wear shoes down there. So let us make some very cheap sandals, cheap to produce, inexpensive for them to buy, and we'll tap into the market. And guys, sure enough, that was a multi-billion-dollar idea, and it was a record hit. Why? One saw a problem, the other saw an opportunity. Many of you are moaning and groping and groaning over issues that you're having in your lives, in your business, on your purpose journey, and you have yet to see the opportunity in what is in front of you. Now, if I were to even use the same job situation, let me tell you something. I'm an HR professional now. I was when I was in the job, but almost everything I learned it on that job. Just as Diana said, I learned it on that job. Business connection, I got it from that job. I saw top level issues. I saw middle level issues. As a consultant today, when I'm going into different organizations, I have experience that cannot be taken from me because of that job. So while I was viewing it as a pain in my behind for many years, it's now an opportunity. We have to we need a paradigm shift. So instead of just viewing things as woe is me, you say to yourself, how can I make this thing better? How can I turn this around? This is no longer a problem. I can change it. I can fix. That's what faith does. When something going wrong, I say, no, sir. You know, like for example, Corona happening, they're saying, boy, we can't have a meeting anymore. I sit down face to face and have a let's talk session. What we going to do? We're going to have to go stop because nobody's going to come because they're afraid of Corona. And then somebody said, no, let's do it on Zoom. And then Natalie said, yes, but that's true. Because then we can invite all our friends in the country. And then Chris said, no, but what about my friends in New York and all over the world? Then the thing shut. The opportunity in the problem, it's there. Some of you sitting down and I say, boy, because of COVID, I haven't been able to do this, that, and the other. But there are opportunities there for you. Jamari is saying problem of illness creates the opportunity of medicine. Yes, it does. And so we need a mindset shift. But let's continue now about faith. Faith also determines your thought process and your actions. Now, we already know before anybody acts upon anything, it is always a thought first. Before you cuss out somebody, before you have a particular conversation, before you go to the supermarket, it's always premeditated. So if you are able to change the way you think, then you will act different. Hence the name mind food. It's not action food, it's mind food. If we can get into your mind, then it will change the way you operate. And that's what faith does. Because listen, no matter how somebody is hurt about a particular thing, if they believe in their mind that they can overcome it, it gives them the hope. So they get up in the morning, they still get dressed, and they go about their day. This is where faith comes in with your vision. Because if you have enough faith after you've planned your vision, you will get up and say, I'm going to have that business meeting. I'm going to have the conversation with an investor. I'm going to go talk to so-and-so. I am going to bring it to TV. I'm going to go to the radio station. That's where the action comes in. Because you have already accepted in your mind that you will be successful, that the vision will come to pass, that it will manifest. Listen, another thing too, don't get spooked out about people who talk about the law of attraction. And they talk about the universe and manifestation. Sometimes we as Christians, we need to be wise. It's coming from the Bible. It now come from nowhere else but the Bible. Just understand that they have used some different kind of philosophy and different big words to make up their own thing. But it's all coming from the Bible. It's faith. That's all it is. When they're going to tell you, say, oh, just visualize you doing this and it is going to happen. It's faith. And then they turn around and they tell you, say, this has to be backed by action. Yeah, faith without works is dead. I can lead you to a Bible scripture. You know, it's so don't be afraid because of what they are saying. It's true because it's biblically linked. Right? It's just that they haven't accepted it as truth, but it is. That's how powerful faith is. So, faith, let me recap. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith sees problems as opportunity. You think Bill Gates never saw COVID as an opportunity? You thought he didn't see that you never have anything to do. Your letters on and created Word, Microsoft Word, and created all these different types of apps.
You know, not to cut you, but when COVID hit last year, March, yes, the Lord said to me, go and read on World War I and World War II. And we would know that those would have been massive devastation right around the world. But there's one country that benefited so much from these wars.
Yes.
And I was so shocked as to the amount of wealth the
Yes.
US amassed
Yes.
because of the wars. And I think Jody's on now. We have our resident economist. And we don't understand, for the love of God, how come the money not there, but construction happening? Like, where bill, where you find money for bill? Like, so there's always persons who will benefit in times like these and become creative, because there's a level of creativity that is within us that is sometimes when our backs are against the wall, that it truly comes out. But I think for majority of us believe that it's just for some people. So it's only the person who are rich already are gonna have the idea, or you know, somebody will have them, and that's not true, because persons have become so resourceful in this time that I saw this young lady on Facebook, just something simple. She is Muslim, and so she cannot wear the typical mask because of the, I don't know, the head.
Yeah.
And so she did what? Create a mask that is convenient for her religion to wear, and that has the material that won't cause, because persons are getting pimples from the mask, and you have the opportunity to slip filters into this thing. And if you should hear her speak, it's the same very principle now. It's the level of value, guys, that you put in yourself that you will reap or see the reward from it. I was saying to my mentee this morning that there's this word that we like to use, which is self-confidence. And we'll leave out the self part, because a lot of people will tell you, Nas, that they're confident. And if they don't get affirmation or a like, or somebody don't tell them something about themselves, confidence is not there. And I said to her, self-confidence is called self-confidence for a reason, because there's a self part in there.
Oh, yeah.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, then you don't have self-confidence. A lot of persons you see out there and they seem confident, but it's not really self-confidence. That confidence comes from the hype or the outward of persons telling them, okay, you can do this, you can do that. But there must become a point when you look at yourself and say to yourself, I can do it. And that's what Let's Talk is. And that's why Natassia is on this platform, because there must come a point where you understand, everybody that is on the platform, that you can do it. You were built, designed, equipped to do it. And you have to believe in yourself in order to get it done. Nasa, hand over back to you.
Thank you. You made some very powerful points there, Natalie. But what I want to add to what you said is that, because you mentioned that during World War, both of them, that this particular country amassed fortunes. Now, I remember in the thick of COVID, there's a gentleman who lives close by here. He goes back and forth to the States. He said that he worked for a particular company that created weapons. And it's a war, so if there's war, naturally he gets business. And the business owner was there planning, hoping that with the whole Trump election thing, there was going to be war, because he was saying, listen, I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna make some money from this. But you had mentioned that you have some people who are out there who are so creative that even when backs are against the wall, they come up with these grand ideas and they're able to capitalize so that their business continues, and they're still building buildings and all these different things. But what I want to say to you is that many Christians were given similar ideas and did not act on them. I tell you guys all the time, my back very broad, and I'm not bothered. But a lot of us got the ideas. God does nothing without telling his people. Don't we know that? He does nothing without pinching somebody and say, listen, something not coming up. So I need you to go prepare yourself to do X, Y, Z. And we never did it. A lot of persons never moved and weren't able to capitalize. Some people still were able to catch up, but weren't able to fully capitalize. And I've been saying it from this thing started, and I'm saying it 1 year after. COVID is here for a lot of us to get ourselves ready for a new alignment that is coming. A shift has already taken place. If you're not get yourself ready already, I don't know what's going to happen to you. We need to change that mindset, because we are required in different places, in different industries, in levels and different spheres of influence. And so, yes, Candice, reset. That is it. We need to reset. Right. And by the way, that is my co-worker that we were both very uncomfortable in the job. Should I hide, but me I call her out. Should I hide? But I call her. We were, even this morning, we got up and we were talking about it, because listen, years before we were sitting down and saying to ourselves, boy, we can't take it no more. And she said, Natalie, I'm going to leave you now. I said, no, Kathy, you can't leave yet. And it worked out for us. Let me tell you, wait on your instruction. But again, vision needs faith. Faith, guys. You don't need evidence. You don't need everybody to back you. You don't need everybody to say, okay, I'm going to come join you. I'm going to help you with your business. You don't need that. Because by the time you start acting upon it, new people come. Hope dealers come. People who are going to help you with your dream come, with the expertise, with the experience, with the knowledge, with everything, with the resources. They come. You don't need everybody to understand you. There's a thing that's been going around. The reason Chris won't understand my vision is because God never wake up Chris in the middle of the night and give him my vision. He gave it to me. So how can I expect Chris to understand the foolishness that I am doing? No, guys, you don't understand, when Jamar and I were putting on conferences and making it free for people to come. This is before you see a lot of big names doing empowerment conferences. We had nothing, and we were doing conferences every month, free. And I remember some co-workers used to laugh at this car and I say, oh, this girl I have free conference and them not have no money or whatever. Let me tell you something. You see what the free conferences have turned out into? What it has mushroomed into, expanded into? You don't need everybody to be behind you. And some people, they get the vision and they're thinking to themselves that they need to go pair up with a brand name or some influencer and get them to endorse their things. No, you don't. As a matter of fact, if you are truly aligned with God, he will ensure that you stay far away from enough people. He don't want to align with a lot of people. The people you have in mind, he's saying, no, nope, nope, nope. Every time you set up a meeting, your car broke down, you can't find the money to go take my bus, something happen. You're not supposed to be aligned with them. God allows nobody to take his glory. You need to just stop, go sit down and wait on your time. Use your faith. You don't need people. You don't need politicians. You don't need the people that money. Just wait. Wait. You don't need to see it. Just believe it. With that being said, let's go on to number 3. Vision requires discipline. Now, if I happen to not have stepped on your toes with my high heel boots, be prepared to feel some pain now. I have people who come to me all the time and they say, Nas, how you get booked for so many engagements? And I said to them, here what you do. Go and volunteer your time to speak. And half the time they disappear on me. Because of course, everybody wants to get money for what they do. And everybody wants to fanfare and they want to be on the big name platform and all these different things. But you don't have the discipline. You've never put in the time required to tune up your craft. Who wants to hear from you anyway when you're not even prepared? So you want to do all these grand things, but you don't even have the discipline. Guys, what is discipline? Let me read the definition for you. It says discipline is the practice of training to obey rules or a code or of behavior or to follow a particular standard. Now, nobody ever gets to a place of notoriety, of fame, of success without discipline. Go and ask Usain Bolt. Go and ask Shelley and Fraser Price. Go and ask all the different athletes all over the world. Ask the musicians who spend all their time practicing. They're always in voice training. Talk to the people who are always studying. Discipline. Discipline. It is the lack of discipline why we have so many females going around the place shaping a particular way. Everybody wants quick fixes. Everybody wants the easy road. And they keep forgetting that if you don't have the discipline to get something, you cannot maintain it. You're not going to keep it. It's not going to stay with you. So you're always going to have to find the quick fixes because you cannot maintain what you have been given outside of discipline. Yeah. Discipline and anointing are two different things. I have to tell you, because we like to talk about, Chris is anointed. He was anointed with what? Tell me one good thing Chris is anointed with, Natalie.
The extra G's. That's the word, babes, the word.
What is that?
Yeah, tell us, Nats. Tell us, Natalie.
He's anointed to break down the word.
All right. See that? He's anointed to break down the word. He's anointed. But if Chris never read the Bible yet, how would I be anointed to break down the word? Tell me. Come and tell me. Come and explain it, okay? Come and tell me. If he had not been going through that thing, he would have ate pages of scriptures day and night. If he had not read it and done it consistently, how would he be able to remember them? Because we like to just rub things over and say, oh, them just anointed to preach. So you mean to tell me, say your pastor never go study? Your pastor never take up a schedule and write out what he wanted to teach? Huh? He never go to seminary school? Him just anointed. We need to stop it. It's discipline. I was telling Jamar earlier today that we have some books in the house. I'm going to share it with you guys. Where's my purple book, babes? Okay, all right, it's on the ground. I can't take it off. We have some books in the house. I was saying to him, you see, by the time we dead and gone, I mean, should be getting proposals in millions and billions of dollars for these books. Every single engagement. Yeah, because some of you guys love to act like, oh, it's just easy thing. Oh, Nasa Jamar, I have political links and I have business links and whatever. It's discipline, do this, discipline. Hours of nights. Diana can tell you, morning, noon, and night, we are studying. We don't come to you empty-handed and empty-headed. It's discipline. Days when we're tired, we can't bother. You go and speak because you are perfecting your craft. If you, and let me be honest with you, if you're not willing to speak for nothing, I don't think you're worthy of being paid for speaking for something. Because it takes discipline. Nobody gets up and goes to the Olympics and say, oh, may I run today? Who does that? Nobody. Nobody does that. So you want to be at the top of your field, you want to be at the top of the game, but at the end of the day, you're not willing to put in the work. You cannot use your anointing to cover up your lack of discipline. Don't feel like it's just, I'm not picking on you, I pick on myself too, because I had my own revelation and I had to get up in January and start to do the right things because I can't, we can't expect things to just work out for us if we are not putting in the work. And so you cannot outrun discipline. I just shared on Momentum Mondays, talent alone is not enough. Anointing alone is not enough. Yes, when you're going to teach, the anointing takes over, but you have to go with something. No, discipline, I think, is everybody's weakness. Everybody except Jamar. Jamar alone get up 4 o'clock every morning. I can't understand him. And we can't talk to him because when him get up 4 o'clock a morning time, he might wake me up. We don't want to wake up so early.
I know what you're talking about, Nas. Chris is the same, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm sorry for you. Because me say him get up, him turn on the light, him go in the bathroom, he make pure noise on my head. I'm like, God, you couldn't make sure him wake like normal time, like 6 o'clock. Pure noise on my head. Eh? Yeah, yes, the light, Chantal, because the light wakes me up. And I can't take it. But I have to understand that he is a man of discipline. The reason he's knowledgeable, the reason he can deliver is because he gets up and he studies. He has been disciplined to do that. And he has been doing it for years. Chris, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, he was defending Jamar.
There's no matter with that. Me not pick up for you today. Me not pick up for you.
The heights by great men reach on Kemper and not
I told you.
by sudden flight, but they while they're company. No, but it's very interesting. That as you mentioned, discipline. I a lot of my preaching engagements, the Lord did not tell me what to say.
Mm.
And what that did for me, I had to prepare.
There you go.
So I had to just, and I mean, this is my own personal story, and I asked the Lord why. I remember I was driving up Old Warp Road and I asked the Lord, why you keep on doing that? Why you don't give me a word like normal person? I want to sit down, I want to prepare a sermon, I want to write something out and all of that. And I remember I was at UTech once and he said, I trust you. And I'm saying, God, you are crazy. I can go up there and I can tell the people nonsense. But he trusts me to be disciplined, as you mentioned, to read, to study. That means the moment you take the mic, he has something to use. So that was him pushing me to say, hey, you have to read it up. You want to go up there and talk foolishness, that's up to you. But, so, and the more you prepare, the better you are, the better you flow. So that's important. So I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, man, discipline. That's powerful, Chris, because I hear people say it a lot too, that they got a word, but even when you got a word from God, you still have to go and put it in point format. You still have to go find your supporting scriptures. You still have to go and you know, Cassandra said something there. If the word says, study to show thyself self-approved, and it is true. You hear what I'm saying? Like, I look at even myself and Jamar, when we are going into these entities and teaching on leadership, guys, you have to remember we are young people. So imagine the odds that are stacked against us when we go to people who are more established, they're older, probably have more work experience, yada, yada, yada. What makes them listen to us? Think about it. What makes them listen to us? What do they have to show? Well, through discipline. We have garnered enough experience around certain successful people, and we would have been doing this thing in terms of training for a long time, yada, 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 all of that. But what I'm saying is you cannot go empty-handed. And through discipline, you will garner what you need to go and conquer. Discipline. And there is no achieving of a vision without that stick-to-itiveness. What we mean by stick-to-itiveness? You're not just going to give up because rain or fall, you're not going to work. You know, Jamaicans, rain or fall, so they're not going to work. When I was working in the US, I think I was in for a rude awakening that no matter what was happening, sunshine, hail, rain, thunderstorm, we work. As a matter of fact, I had some days, because I worked at a theme park, I had some days where it started out very bright and sunny, and we were working and we were fine. And then there was this thing that we were actually in Massachusetts. By the time 1 o'clock come, showers of rain, thunderstorm, place dark. By 4 o'clock, the sun come back. Imagine my day. We don't have no shelter, no shelter. So you get wet up, you dry. You get wet up again. That was our day, but we had to keep going. Discipline. See, I'm going today. Whether or not Natalie comes with me to go walk, I go walk. I have so much to work on in terms of my health goals. I'm not there yet. You know, to decide that you're not going to just give up because you know that you're working towards something. And there are no shortcuts. There's no microwave success. And we're going to talk some more about that. There's no cheating, which leads us to the fourth point. That vision requires a process.
Sorry.
Yes, Sir Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, man. Just thinking about, as you mentioned, you know, God have this tendency of not telling you the whole story.
He doesn't. He never does. He never tell me the whole story. Or me that wouldn't do it.
He has a way of just releasing something to you, and they expect you to act on it. Mm-hmm. And then little later on, some months, he gives you another word. And I mean, we were talking this morning in our family devotion, how privileged we are to have a Bible, a historical reference, to look at God, because people before didn't have anything at all. You mentioned discipline, and just Abraham came to mind because he got a word: get thee out of thy country, from thy kindred, from thy father's house, into a land that I will show you. And he had to have the discipline to walk. Just start walking. And I mean, that's crazy. Where are you going? I don't know.
Don't know.
And he just had to step out and start. And I mean, you know, you started out, and you know, we have this thing taking over the world. We don't see it. It's just one Sunday at a time. We can't tell you what's going to happen. And yes, it requires faith, it requires innovation, blah, blah, blah. But we have to learn. I mean, I feel bad, and I think God is going to judge us so harshly. That's my point. Because we have so much experience. And people in the biblical days don't have no reference. They can sit down and sing a song.
They never had Instagram. They never had Facebook.
No
Moses stood
YouTube.
up there and Moses start bawl to God and say, God, Pharaoh behind me, Red Sea in front of me, and God say, yo, suck it up.
Yeah.
Suck it up. What you talk about? Stretch out. Rahab the overboy, Rahab hear what happened, news travel. They never had any of that. They never had any of that. And we have the word. We have, if you don't feel like listening to your pastor, you can listen to how much million and one between YouTube and Instagram.
Somebody.
Somebody. If you don't feel, if you're bilingual and you don't feel like listening to the English, you can go listen to a Spanish pastor.
So we have to get cracking. Honestly, we really can't be stagnant anymore. We have to get going because we hear this thing. I mean, even today, a lot of people on some people might be on this platform. They're listening on Facebook. They're jumping to and fro. It's an age that we have a lot of information. That's a lot of information, but at the same time, it's that generation who, in my perspective, really gets little done compared to the previous generation who didn't have so much at their disposal, but yet they accomplish a lot. So back to Abraham, he had to be disciplined just to step out on the word of God and just keep walking. So I just encourage somebody this afternoon, just keep walking. Just keep walking.
Keep going. Keep going, guys. Chris, you made such a great point because let me tell you something. I remember a time in our lives, Jamar and myself, that we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't feel like what we were doing was being seen or anybody was hearing us, or we felt as though we were stagnant, not knowing that we were actually making impact. You see, guys, let me tell you something, and this is really for Chris and Natalie. People see everything you do. They see you and they don't tell you. The moment you stop, they will know. But they see your growth, they see what you're doing, they just don't say it. It has to get to the point where it's overwhelming, or it has to get to the point where a Sunday is missed. And then they said to you, how comes I don't see the thing on Facebook? Because I watch it every week. And you're probably there thinking to yourself, nobody's watching you, so might as well you give up. But people are seeing it. They just don't say anything. Because we as human beings, we know that we like to start things and stop. So a lot of times people are there watching to see when exactly will you quit. They're watching to see, let me see when they're gonna get tired and they're gonna quit. But in reference to our society and our age, about we have all these different devices and so on that should be helping us, you also have to remember, Chris, that these things that are supposed to be assisting with doing the work of God and spreading the kingdom are also distractions. So it goes hand in hand. So Abraham never had them a distraction. Abraham never stopped to scroll while God came to visit him. The angel of the Lord came to visit Abraham, and Abraham stopped and I scroll through Instagram. So never I hear when Lord said really good, or when God said, oh, just leave your people and go about your business. Abraham pull out his phone and go up on Google Maps and say, all right, let me see. Right now, because they never had that.
Oh, it's a generation who never have an angel visitation, but know all the name of the angels.
Exactly.
We can tell you about Gabriel, we can tell you about the ranks and everything, but yet never, because what? That's nobody is willing to become barren to have that visitation. Nobody is willing to become an Elizabeth to have that experience. No.
Powerful. Powerful.
Mm.
And you know, when you even mention, guys, forgive me for just carrying a little bit. I just feel like mentioning this point. You see, when you mention Abraham and the instruction that God gave him to just leave, just get up and just left yam and just cut. And Abraham did it. And him said to Lot, say, Lot, you come, Lot, say, all right, yeah, me I come. I was thinking about Moses. How silly is it for a bush to speak to you and tell you, say, go to the most powerful man and tell him, let my people go. And if he asks you, who sent you, tell him, I am that I am. No, these people had crazy, you know, it's some mad people, you know.
Yeah.
It's some mad people, but they believed and they still did it. They still walked. And let's bear in mind, because we're on the topic of process. Vision needs process. Of 40 years, Moses in the wilderness for. Do you want me to check up how long it took Isaac to come to Abraham and Sarah? Abraham was 100 years old. Sarah was 80. God promised them much, a long time God promised them. Somebody needs to go check it up and put it in the chat box. I think they were waiting for over 20 years. But yet still we want it tomorrow. My God. We want it tomorrow. We want it today. We want it this evening. And I really do sense that some people are wrestling with God because they're saying, no man, this should have happened a long time. It's not time. It's not time. There's a process. Shara said, no. Me too, Shara. But then I have days where, you know, I would get a particular dream and see something in the dream and I would just know that he is saying to me that it is not time. And he's saying to me that he is building my character. And he's saying to me that, Nas, I'm teaching you patience. Because you're too quick and busybody and you're not listening. And so he says, this is not for right now, because if I give it to you right now, Shara, if I give that thing to you right now, I'm going to see the back of you because you now come back to me. And God is going to take the back burner. And sometimes the things that we are asking for, like right now, they will destroy us because we're not prepared. You're not prepared. I tell people all the time, I prayed to be effective. I never asked God for popularity. I hate it. I don't, I like my peace and quiet. I never asked God. So when Chris said that God gives you peace on the vision, he never showed me everything. He showed us that we were gonna be effective. He never showed me the other side. He never showed me the betrayal and people always doing things to sabotage you and all these. He never showed me that. He only showed me a peace. And so sometimes that thing that you're really praying for, you're not ready for it, you can't manage it, it will destroy you. Go through your process. What is a process? A process is a series of action or steps that are taken to achieve a particular end. Imagine if God had called Moses while he was still in Pharaoh's house. That wouldn't have made sense. That wouldn't have even been possible, really. Go ahead, Chris.
Maybe you would think that is one of Pharaoh God talking to
Exactly. Exactly. Can you imagine how confused he would be? I said, but God be in a Pharaoh house, so you want me to go tell Pharaoh this and that and the other. That don't make no sense. Process. There is my major in business was in production and operations management. And this morning, my rabbi For those who don't understand, Rabbi is teacher, Jamar is my teacher. He said, he said to me, he was explaining the Six Sigma principle. And it was something that I learned in school. It was a whole course that we had to do. Now, Six Sigma is all about studying processes. The production of cars, the production of different equipment, they go through a process. The idea behind Six Sigma is that you do not change your product, you change your process. So for Kingdom Talk, when you look at Kingdom Talk in the next 10 years, they're not changing their vision, they're not changing their product, they just change the process. And so if you want a better product, you don't change the product, you just change the process. Make it go through a longer process, or you tune up different aspects of the process. That's the same thing with us, you know. Let me level with you. You see, the bigger the vision you are carrying, the longer your process will be. The greater the vision you are carrying, the longer the process will be. And some of us are looking to our left, we're looking to our right, and we are saying, God, how are these people doing so well and I'm still here struggling? Well, guys, what you are carrying is way more demanding. It's way bigger. It's global. It's going to take more out of you. It's going to take more time. And so you cannot watch another man's race. Don't get distracted. Go through your process. Even the Bible talks about perseverance and process. And when you're done, you're going to come out like pure gold. God is a God of order and process. It builds character. It creates longevity. When you go through your process, you're not a fly by day or a pitch by night, right? People have to address you well because you know your stuff. You know what you're talking about. It wasn't a quick fix that got you there. Somebody didn't put you through a back door or push you through a window. You went through your process. You earn your seat at the table. Can I tell you about that? You earn your seat at the table. Oh, Jamar says fly by night. Right. So I said it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. You earned your seat at the table. So nobody can just get, when the government changed, nobody can look at you and say, you get up out of your seat. That has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to, you have earned your right to be there. And everything you have done is stacked behind you and they can see your fruits. So it's not a friend thing. It's not a party you apply. You went through your due process. I'm going to add two more things and then I think I'm going to wrap up for tonight. Vision needs a successor to leave a legacy. Guys, your vision is not over when you die. It's just the start of a new era. So I have water, babes. Thank you. So, for example, Natalie and Chris, their children will come up and they will see to it that the Let's Talk legacy continues. It doesn't have to be your own children or your relatives. It could be somebody who is a stranger to the family, but they have the passion. They have the skills to run with what you started. Legacy don't mean house and care, all those things alone, you know, guys. Remember, we talk about personal ambition. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people that you leave behind, mindsets that you have changed, something that you leave that speaks for you beyond the grave. Even after you're dead, them are talk about us. Right? So you need to have successors and you have to start planning that from early as well. So you start mentor people from early. Don't wait until you're old. Start doing it now. Start duplicating yourself now. And the last thing I want to share with you is that vision requires a team. As you expand, you will need a team. You cannot do it by yourself. You will need the support of others. You don't know everything. Let me tell you that. If you don't know, I'm telling you no. You don't know everything. And so you will require people from various expertise to chime in at different points in time. You need a team. You need successors. Your vision is not about you. I don't know if I've ever told you that. I'm going to reiterate that. Your vision is not about you. The only privilege you have been given is that you were the one who he chose to use to start it. But I'm going to tell you, if you choose not to work on it, he's going to give it to somebody else. But the vision is not about you. So guys, I'm open to all the questions you have. But I'm going to hand back over to Natalie. You're muted.
Thank you so much, Natassia. That was very, very good. Guys, I open the platform. Oh, Jamar, your hand is up. If you can go ahead and speak, Jamar. But if you have any questions or comments, now is the time to go ahead and do so. Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and place it, and I will go ahead and ask our presenter for tonight. Jamar?
Okay, thanks again. Just to add what Nas was saying about the success, and I think even for us as well, Nas and I, we have to look into that as well. I know it's something that is very every in our art, because we have seen it all over in the organization that we go. Just to give you one quick example. Captain Bakery. If you probably live in Portmore or you drive in Portmore, you realize that one of the largest outlet of Captain Bakery, that is now in coma. That business is now in coma. And when Captain died, that bakery died. And so we have to think in terms of generation. God is a generational God. When David sinned, God keep David on that throne because his lineage would have came from David. And so David was a greater, David was part of his greater purpose. God was looking 400 years, 4,000 years from David generation. And so whenever we start anything, we can't just think in terms of us. We have to know that, as Nas said, that our vision, we are not the owners of the vision. We are just the starters of the vision. And just like in a relay race, we run our leg and we pass on the baton to the next generation. If we die on that vision, the thing that you start die, then you have disqualified the relay race of life. And so we have to ensure that we raise up people. I know sometimes probably we can become insecure about it, because sometimes people follow us for various reasons, for the wrong reason. And we have seen it a lot in church. A lot of pastors, they don't raise up anybody. He's preaching from he was 6 and he's now 96, and no one preaching the church. He's not raising up anybody to preach. There's nobody to take over the church. And so when he dies, the church split and the church died. And so we have seen it in a lot of organizations. There's no one to succeed. You know, even in a family, when the parents die, the siblings fight over the spoils, the house, the land, the car. There's no will, there's nothing. And I think we have a responsibility to stop that. If the third world country is going to emerge bigger and better, we have to start by raising up people who will take over from us. That's just my quick advice. I'm finished.
Thank you so much, Jamar. I appreciate it. Anyone else have a comment, question? Anyone else?
Just want to say thank you for the presentation. Very sobering, my perspective. We have a very short time here on the earth. Very, very short time. And it just kind of bring me to that place that we have to be very careful in terms of who we listen to. Really can't allow anything in our ears, because what you ingest will really materialize into your vision and stuff. And we have to be very careful. Just one simple thought and a conversation with somebody can really detour us for the next 10 years. So, I think hence why the Jews are so disciplined to ensure that they teach their children and they ensure that they themselves speak into their children and raise them up. And I think the disadvantage, as we mentioned, the distraction today, that there are so many platforms, there are so many, everybody has something to say. And we have to discern, as the Bible said, my sheep know my voice. So it's a real challenge today to ensure that we are listening to the right stuff. Everybody has something to offer, but the quality of it, then that's another thing. So, wow, thank you for what you have said. And I just trust that God will continue to speak to those who are on this platform, just to kind of just purify your hearing so that you will hear correctly and so that you can actually accomplish, as we mentioned, success. Sometimes people equate success with maybe material things, but for me, simply success is really the fulfillment of purpose. So anywhere you are and your purpose is fulfilled, then you are successful. And so we really have to look at success as, hey, we need to accomplish our purpose and stuff. And sometimes it's, as you mentioned, it's generational. Our purpose is really not just for our lifetime. It's really our contribution to this greater vision that God has for us. It's gonna last for a long time. So thank you again, guys. And it's a lot. It's a lot this evening. Bless you.
Thank you so much.
I see here, Nas, any tips on how to become disciplined as it relates to your purpose?
Sure, I'll start. I mean, you can beat yourself up for such a long time and no more. At some point, you will have to just get up and start. Forgive yourself for being lazy, for not being intentional, and just get started. It's just as simple as that. Just get up, get started. Just be intentional. Do what you need to do and just know that it is a process. So you're not gonna see the change in 2 days' time or 2 months. It's going to take you some time, but if you hold on to it long enough, you will see results.
I see a lot of persons, or most persons, are saying, that they really appreciated the discussion. Yeah, just some simple advice can really get us going. And I am going to do some research on Six Sigma myself, and what that is about. Nas, I'm more than grateful. The platform is grateful. Anybody can open their mics and just say thank you to the presenter. Just open up your mics, everyone, if you can, and just say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some foreigners on Facebook saying thank you.
Awesome presentation.
It was a great presentation.
So, Natalia, I just wanted them to open the mic so you could feel the love, because really, I'm sitting here and I'm blown away. I think I just add 2 more things to my goals. Just sitting here and being a part of this, I just flip over my pages and just add 2 more things to just some stuff that I want to see happen for my 2021. So,
can I just say something quickly?
Sure, go ahead.
From somebody asking about a quote from Mr. Browning. So I'm asking 2 things from everyone watching. You can see my Instagram handle in my box. Go and follow me over there. Chris made a great point. We have to be careful what we ingest, what you allow in your gates, your ear gates, eye gates, and your mouth is a gate. What you allow in your gates, unfortunately, if it's not aligned to true north or the truth, it will manifest in you and outside as well in your environment, things that you don't want to happen. So you have to be intentional about your feed, intentional about what you're scrolling past. If you know this person pours out nothing but hatred and things just cussing people or whatever, that's something you probably may not need to ingest. So just to add some motivation and some inspiration backed by biblical principles, go and follow me on Instagram. Also, for those who are interested in mentorship, I have a mentorship program. It's a 2 to 4 month period that I work with individuals who need someone to hold their hands with their goals. So it's the same goal setting, planning, organizing yourself, and then putting you out there to get some experience. It's not something that I advertise, but I make it available on any platform that I am on to share with individuals about this program. It is a paid program, but it's nothing expensive. So if you are interested in that, I'd work with you on a weekly basis. We touch base, whether by video or phone, and we have these conversations that are required to get you to your next level, whatever your next level looks like. So that's all I'm asking of you guys. And Chris and Natalie, please don't be afraid to invite Jamaran. At any point in time, we are family and we're here to support Let's Talk Kingdom, like when y'all ready, anytime, we're ever ready. We're the ever ready crew. So
this was your introduction, so we really haven't invited you on as yet. This is just kind of to introduce Natassia to the Let's Talk platform.
Don't worry, Nats. We soon have Let's Talk conference.
Of course.
You guys have so much to offer. Thank you for just surrendering yourself and be equipped and just packing up yourself with all of that information for us. Bless you.
We soon come back to squeeze out. Don't worry. Thank you so much. Guys, I placed her handle in the, and for LinkedIn, I think she's just by her name. And trust me, guys, I'm telling you, it's good. It's a breath of fresh air to just read and to go through and to kind of shift your focus during the day, because sometimes I don't get it as it goes up, but just to stop sometimes during the day for me, it's my during the day break when I get very frustrated. It shifts and centers me a lot. So I don't know how else to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who is on the platform. I'm appreciative. I say this every week. You could have chosen to be somewhere else, but you chose to be here. And for that, I would like to say thank you. Next week, we will continue on the whole note of vision and executing. My presenter for next week, her name is Stacey Ann Smith. She is the founder of Pursued International. I believe she speaks about human trafficking and stuff, but we're not really so much focusing on the foundation, but how she got there. And I just want to say tonight is another night. Shara, me know you go call me Shara. Shara, call me. I'm here. You will talk. Call me Shara.
The Let's Talk after Let's Talk, right?
Let's talk after Let's Talk, because Shara and I spoke, last week. She was the one who said, yo, Nat, I couldn't talk. She's a talker. So for her to not say anything, I know she's just sucking up and absorbing. And I just want to tell everybody, thank you tonight. I close the same way how I start. Have a blessed week. Have a fabulous week. Have a week where you start. Let this week be the week that you try to discover passion. You just stop giving your whole entire morning, evening, and night to the work and try to find your passion. If you're one of those persons who you're just not in your passion right now, let's start.
look to see and I say, never look to see, Natassia.
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain.
Then I say, Natassia.
And so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nats. Thank you, Jamar. And do. Oh, you mean, Jamar? Look good. Stay good. I want to see you. Want to see Natassia, don't draw me out. Do have a wonderful, wonderful night, everyone. And thank you so much